Hi everyone. Okay, well we're back. We've got our movie and we've got our title and we've got the body of the movie itself with the same thing we've been working on from last time. But now we're going to go ahead and play with exporting your movie, how to export your movie. All right, now so what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and before we export it, we actually have to add another layer on there. Now why do we need to do that? That's because of this program. It allows us to go ahead and export a movie and export it as with a blank background. So we have to put something on the background if we want that contrast to show. Your background is generally always going to be black when you export. So what we want to do is up on layer number 1 here, we're going to add a new layer right here, new layer. And I'm going to left click and drag it below. And I'm going to put just a white rectangle down there. So you notice when I open this up, it automatically opens up to the longest length of keyframe that's there, which is great. I'm going to go over to the rectangle, select that, then go over to the fill, and select white. So I went to the rectangle, went over to the fill color. I can have it here too. The fill color, and I selected white. So I'm going to do right now is I'm going to left click and drag a box around the stage. So I just left click and drag and then release. Now I've got a white paper there. You notice that area filled up with that light gray? So there's content there. Now I'm going to go ahead and lock those two layers. I'm going to go back to the movie layer. And the same thing happens to the movie layer. I may have my content right here, and I can see it when I do a test movie right here because this is an in-program test movie. It's not an export. So that means you can only see it inside here, but it shows the white background. So what we need to do for contrast, so what we need to do is we need to go and put that on there also. So I'm going to go ahead and insert another layer. That's the square with the little plus sign. It says new layer. Click on it once. There's layer 2. I'm going to left click and drag it below. And I'm going to say just background. Go ahead and abbreviate that. And then I'm going to click at the very first keyframe. And I'm going to select the white, the rectangle, and make sure it's set for white, which it is. And so I'm going to go ahead right here on this one, and I'm going to left click and drag a rectangle around it. And I can make it a little bit bigger, and that's okay. Release. And there it is. So I've got that white rectangle. I'm all set. And I'm going to lock those two layers. Now I'm ready to go ahead and export this movie. Okay, I'm ready to go ahead and export this. So I'm going to go ahead and go up to File and Export Video Media. Okay, now when this comes up right here, we pretty much got the export media. We've got our size, our width and height of the artboard. We've got our scene panel here. So in other words, you could check how much you wanted to export. If you want to export just a scene, you could click on just this, and you could then select from the drop-down menu, title and movie. You'll notice over here to the side here, I have title and movie. Whatever you put here, it's going to reflect, it's going to get that source information from this panel here. So in this case, though, I want to go ahead and export both. So I'm going to click on entire movie. And this is start time. Let's say if you wanted to just export a tiny little clip out of something, you'd use this. We're not going to worry about that. We go down here to the bottom here. The format preset is H264, which is great. And then we're going to use the default on the preset export. And down at the bottom here, this says where it's going to go. Okay, I'm going to click on that and go, okay, where I want it to go. And so I'm going to go ahead and put a title in there, demo, D-M-M-O, demo, that's better. And go put that there, and I'm going to say save it to the desktop and say save. Now when this comes up here, start Adobe Render Media and Encoder Render Queue immediately. Boy, you can say that easily, huh? Start Adobe Media Encoder Render Queue immediately. Media Encoder is a program that's a piggyback program that comes along with Adobe Animate, and it's automatically there in the background. So if you have not used it yet, it may take a minute or two for it to load in. I'm going to go ahead and say export. When it does here, you'll eventually see this window pop up that says Media Encoder. And this allows you to change the different file types and export types if you'd like. So on this one here, I'm going to go ahead and it's all set up here. Really what I'm looking for is right here in the upper right hand side. I'm looking to see if my movie populated in here, and I want it to say done with a check mark. And it did. You notice while I was explaining, it popped in really quickly, and we saw the movie play down here at the bottom left hand side really quickly. Click on that, don't show that again. And so if I go on down here, you notice that my movie is there. It says okay. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this down to the tray and go ahead and look off to the left hand side there, and there it is. There's my demo. So if I go ahead and open this up right? We should have that opened up. One thing we want to do though, before we get going on this, and we open it up all the way, oops, is we want to go ahead and change the name on this. So I'm going to go ahead and change that, rename and change that over from an MP4 to an MOV. So just type in MOV, click off the side, say yes, use MOV, and then we'll open it up. And there we have our movie ready to go. We have a little play bar. We can stretch this out, make it larger or smaller. Click on that, move your cursor off to the side. There it is playing. And there we have it. So we have the movie itself, right? And we have our export, it's playing, it looks nice. And so I can hit play again. And notice I keep the cursor inside there. You can see it just playing, right? And boop, it stops. Now, if you want to go ahead and go to view and loop, you can do that. And you can play that. Now, this video is one you can upload to Adobe, to YouTube, etc., as it'll work in those files types. All right, because it's an MOV file. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up. Hit that red dot there, and I've got my movie, and I've gone ahead and exported it and put it onto the desktop. So that is the next thing for you to do here, is to go ahead and try exporting your movie as is, and putting it onto the desktop using the media encoder, and make sure at the end that when it exports it, open it up on the desktop and change it from MP4 to MOV, and then you are going to be good to go. And you should be able to open that up and play it. Okay? You don't need to upload it. You don't need to show it to me, but you need to be able to do it before we get to class next time, because it'll be important for you to see that and do that. Okay? So the next thing we need to do now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to start into our actual project. Okay, this was just warm-up stuff. This is our actual project.